MacVoices at CES 2025. ShowStoppers. MacVoices is at CES in Las Vegas. I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, it's time for Larry O'Connor of Otherworld Computing. Every year we try to talk to Larry. Every year we find him at a different place. This time we caught up with him at ShowStoppers. Larry, it's great to see you.
Yeah, likewise, Chuck. Thanks for coming by.
Well, thank you for being here. We always appreciate it. Every year you announce something that kind of comes out of left field and wows us. This year we have something that I don't remember the last time I got excited over a cable.
Fair enough. We've solved the problem of cables that work with everything, whether Thunderbolt 4 and Thunderbolt 5 cables. I mean, it's not having to worry about the cable you're using, whether it's you're powering, whether it's for a USB-C to C device, a dock, a drive, whatever. If it connects C to C, our Thunderbolt 4 or Thunderbolt 5 cables, universal, you pull out of your bag, it doesn't matter what you're connecting. So getting that issue out of the way, and then I'll tell you, the wrong cable is like the number one reason people call in. They pull out that really nice cable that might have come with one of their Macs. They pull out that really nice cable that they maybe spent a fortune on at the store because it had the extra braided cover and it looked really cool, and they plug it into a Thunderbolt bus and their device doesn't work, or they plug it in to charge and the charging is slow. So I'm spending a lot of time getting to these cables, but cables are really important. In a few years, we take these things for granted, but when you need things to work, having the right cable is, really important for that. And all of our cables are labeled, so you see how fast they are, what their power delivery is, and all of our Thunderbolt cables are absolutely guaranteed to work with if it connects with C to C, it's going to work. So I'll be honest, I only travel with our Thunderbolt cables now because even for the iPhone, that's going to charge my iPhone. It's how I'm going to connect my computer. It's how I'm going to connect my drive. It keeps life simple. But people started asking, okay, great, these cables are wonderful. We want longer cables. And there's not really been good options there. So that's what we focused on, really probably after this show last year. And the result of that are 3 meter and 4.5 meter 40 gigabit cables, which support everything from USB 2, USB 3, 5 gig, 10 gig, Thunderbolt 3, and Thunderbolt 4, and of course USB 4, up to 40 gigabits. So this cable up to 3 meters, under $100, our 4.5 meter cable, 15-foot cable, under $130. These do power delivery. These do all your data. These are nice long cables for those workflows where you want to separate things out or have whatever the reason may be, that a little bit of distance, more than a meter or two, goes a long ways. So really excited to have an optical cable that works, it's an OWC certified guaranteed product, and at a reasonable price that doesn't break the bank. We did optical cables before, back in Thunderbolt 2 days. We're very happy with these.
Well, I recently got caught with the wrong cable, and I had a devil of a time charging my device. And, it's like it happens once to you, and then you just want to throw all your cables away and start over. And, that's not very cost efficient, but when you need it, you need it.
When you need something to work and you pull a cable out and you plug it in and it doesn't work, and at that point you might not even be sure, is it the cable, is it the device? It's not a good feeling. And you look at, especially the Thunderbolt cables, the shorter cables, 1 meter, under $20, under $30, they have the right cable. All it takes is one time, and that cable is, that's the peace of mind is just in the longevity. These, there are a lot of, it's not, look, we build cables that are built to last. Again, there may not be fancy glitter on them and all the other fun stuff, but they work every time, and that's, as that's priceless. And it just takes once.
Well, and the other thing too is you think, okay, I just need the short one, right? But there's only so much desk space, and then your back starts to get crowded because you're trying to keep it short. So the idea that I can take something, put it on the other side of the desk now, and have that option, I've bought back space that my desk space is kind of precious at this point.
100%. And in fairness, some of those drive arrays, we have 4, 8, or more drives cranking away, spinning, they make a little bit of noise. Sometimes a little distance, from that is a nice thing to have as well. Yeah. But the most important thing is it's a solution that works, and it doesn't, like all these cables, that we offer, they don't break the bank and they don't break anything else because you plug them in and they go.
And they work.
and they work, and they're I mean, these are. Sorry. I'm always excited about showing the products, but they're very flexible as well. I mean, in the past, optical cables have been more, I guess, they sense it a little more. Brittle's the wrong word, but it had to be handled with a little bit more care. Don't throw these in your fireplace. How do they put them on? Put them on the stove or whatnot. But the bottom line is they're very resilient cables. Whether you're going to set them up once and forget it, or take them on the road with you, they're very durable cables as well. Now we understand people live, and these cables are designed to live with you.
Larry, I think it's interesting because every year we talk to you, and every year you solve another either little problem or a bigger problem with one of the upgrades or one of the new products. Where do the ideas come from? I mean, are you just constantly revisiting the process, of all our workflows, or are you getting the customer feedback, or how's that work for you?
It's a pretty broad, combination. I mean, first off, I say, we have the best customers in the world that share so much, good feedback with us. And it's not necessarily, in a lot of cases, we don't always know, what, the actual solution is, but the problem gets identified. It's sometimes really easy. I mean, length of a cable, that's pretty straight up. But nonetheless, I mean, the feedback we have, the team we have, just an eye for, hey, here's the problem. Regardless of what might solve it, what's the best way to solve it? Not the symptom, solve the problem so that it's something that's just there and works and is no longer a problem. And I have to say, I mean, Thunderbolt 5, just to bring Thunderbolt 5 in, I'm really excited about all the products we've been bringing into that ecosystem. And it's a really fun roadmap ahead. But Thunderbolt 5 really finally solves for having everything through one port without being crowded. Thunderbolt 40 gigabit, so Thunderbolt 3 or Thunderbolt 4. Now, if you have one high-speed data device, that's pretty much what you wanted on one port, because you plug a display into it or plug another high-speed data device into it. Now they're fighting for bandwidth. You plug a 4K display into like a Thunderblade or into a Thunderbait 4, it actually slows those data devices down because you need more bandwidth for the display than is allocated. And there's 12 gigabits, but more than that is needed, and that encroaches in onto your data device. Now here's Thunderbolt 5. You've got 80 gigabits of upstream bidirectional. Of that, there's 16 gigabits. Got to get my numbers here. There's 16 gigabits of that that's allocated to display. So you have 64 gigabits for data. But here's where the fun trick comes in. Another 40 gigabits is stacked on that 16 for display. So you can have a couple 5K displays plugged into that Thunderbolt 5 hub. You can have a Thunderblade plugged into. You can have a Thunderblade X12, which saturates the bus. I mean, our Thunderblade X12 is the first product in the world that maxes out the Thunderbolt 5 data bus, end to end, keeps it peak. But you can have now two displays and the fastest storage product in the world running through a single port in your computer, and everything operates harmoniously well without the slightest encroachment. That's, to me, is the big thing. You really now have the ability to have one port with a major workflow behind it. Plug in your Thunderbolt 5 workflow through one port. You have a Thunderbolt 4 workflow, a Thunderbolt 3, 40 gigabit workflow. Plug it into the other ports. And now, all that data comes through at full speed. What's on 3 ports now on a Mac, on an M3 or prior? One port to a Thunderbolt 5 hub, all 3 of those flows unimpeded in terms of data. So it's a really, it brings us to truly having that one port and having all the other port capability spread it out. And Apple did an awesome job. Every one of those ports is independent in the sense that you get the full bandwidth. There's no sharing between the ports. So every one of those ports independently gives you that full bandwidth.
So what I'm taking away from this is that I need to think about a little bit more about what I'm plugging into which ports, especially if I get a new Mac, and reevaluating my devices and my workflow to make sure that I'm maximizing the performance of everything that's connecting to my Mac.
Well, I guess I would take it a step back and say, you should do that. You almost don't have to do that depending upon your workflow, because however you plug it in, with the current machines with 40 gigabits, you really want to be careful about where you plug into what, just to make sure you've got your devices and your displays logically connected so that they're not stepping on each other. So you're getting the maximum performance. Now you're in a situation where with a single Thunderbolt 5 port and a hub, which gives you an additional 3 ports, it takes that one and gives you 3 downstream. Everything you had to worry about where you're going to put it on your current on a Thunderbolt, on an M3 or an M2. Now all can go through one device, through one port, and everything is at full speed. And then you've got the other ports to manage and cruise. So it's really a matter of, you don't necessarily need a Thunderblade X12 doing 7,000 megs a second or 6,500 megs a second. But knowing that your devices will always be every year.
every year.
So it's busy, it's crowded in here. There's no room over there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, and it helps to understand some of this stuff. Just because the plug fits doesn't mean that's the best option.
Yeah, and a whole multitude of different things. So I guess, here with Thunderbolt 4 or Thunderbolt 3, Thunderbolt 40 gigabit, they really have things working right, they're working their best. You had to put a lot more thought into it with this. Now you need the hodgepodge, just plug things in wherever. When you realize, hey, I can get maybe there's a little more I should be getting, the optionality it's just incredible. And displays were the biggest, crusher of bandwidth on these 40 gigabit ports. You did not want to have a display on the same bus with a high-speed data, because it was always going to reduce the speed of your data device. And maybe you didn't even know that you're giving up 500 or 800 or even 1,000, but half the performance of some of these things. Thunderbolt 5, that's no longer a factor. It will be. I mean, it's some. I guess you're running X12s. It will be, but
yeah. Well, eventually we will all need it, but right now this is the top of the line.
100%. And again, even with the fastest data device on the planet, you can have two displays plugged in going throughout to that same single port, and there's no slowdown. You can't do that today with 40 gigabit. You can't do that with a single 4K display on a 40 gigabit port. So that's what's exciting. It's just knowing you're going to get more value, more performance, but honestly a little less complication versus what we have today. And it's less text protocols, because that's just like the cables, which, but to a lesser degree, a lot of folks, they plug a display into a Thunderblade or a Thunderblade because they can chain it. Why not? It's Thunderbolt, you're supposed to be able to daisy chain. And then they call up and say, hey, my drive is running really slow. Why am I should be getting Thunderbolt, I should be getting 2,000 megs a second. Why am I getting only 1,500 megs a second? Why am I only getting 1,000 megs a second? Well, let's see what's in your chain, how's it set up? You have a display plug in there. It's Thunderbolt, why not? Yeah, that display needs a little more bandwidth than, there's been given to it. There's a little more than 12, and it's taking it from that Thunderblade. Not anymore with Thunderbolt 5.
So we have a lot of other toys back here on the table. What else are we showing here at the show?
Sure, we just began. We announced and introduced our Thunderbolt 5 hub, which I've kind of talked about. It provides you with a USB-A 10 gigabit port, along with one upstream and 3 downstream, full 8120 ports. So this is where you can plug in all the Thunderbolt 5 chains, your Thunderbolt 40 gigabit devices, segment. If you already have a Thunderbolt 3 or Thunderbolt 4 dock, you don't need to buy a new dock. The dock doesn't need that bandwidth. So my suggestion is, with the hub, buy a hub, plug your 40 gigabit, your existing 40 gigabit chain devices to one of those ports, or 2 ports, depending on how many displays you have. Plug a display into the other port, plug a Thunderbolt 5 Envoy or some other, if you need Thunderbolt, whatever it might be, segment it out. You can continue to use your 40 gigabit workflow devices and have those ports available for the full speed of Thunderbolt 5 as well. So that's your Thunderbolt 5 hub. Just again, gives you that multiplex option. It's 140 watts of power delivery, so it will full speed charge your Mac, any Mac for that matter, and most PCs. And then you have those ports so that it's a single port where you can plug everything into. Thunderbolt, again, I keep going back to Thunderbolt 40 gigabit, but you have to have, if you're a laptop user and you have high speed devices or multiple displays, you have to plug in multiple cables when you get back to base, because it's not going to work well, if it's all going through one port. Now, one port, one device, charge, and everything. So that's our Thunderbolt 5 hub. And then our Thunderblade X12, 12 terabytes to 96 terabytes of incredibly fast SSD storage. And this is the first device in the world that maximizes, that peaks out and holds at that maximum speed what a Thunderbolt 5 bus can do on data. And that's nearly 7,000 megs a second sustained end-to-end on 12 terabytes and up to 96 terabytes of storage in a solution at this point that will ship roughly it might squeak in end of this quarter, but otherwise early quarter 2. And well, there'll be a solution for our Thunderbolt 5 fans, who need, whether it's you need that extra speed. The current Thunderblades, hit with 40 gigabit, roughly 3,000 megs a second, and that's pretty fast for workflows most ingest. I mean, you really have to take a look at what's my source, in terms of where's my data coming from. Can I take advantage of this next speed? But if you have a need for more speed and more capacity, now the X12 arrives. But that's what we've got at the show. And I talk a lot. I appreciate you letting me get it all out, Chuck.
No, I love to listen to you because, again, you make me rethink things. And, if we'd have been here 10 years ago, we wouldn't be talking about these speeds. And you'd think, I don't know, when am I ever going to need that? And here we are 10 years later, and you are benefiting from it. Whether you need it or not depends on your workflow. But I can see my needs, or at least my desires, increasing as we get bigger video files, and I'm trying to do more with more data. That I need these, both need and want these devices to improve my workflow.
They save time. They let you honestly do more things. And the technology. I mean, the cost is really. I mean, it's pretty insane how, relatively speaking, inexpensive these kinds of solutions are today. Even looking at solid state arrays compared to what a comparable hard drive capacity would have been a decade ago.
Oh, well, my God, it's everything, the technology you were talking about, if you could have bought it, neither one of us could have afforded it. and you couldn't buy it. So now it's, it maybe feel a little pricey now, but now I can get it if I have that need.
100%. Yeah. And for the time it saves, I mean, when you do the math, in a lot of cases, it's really very inexpensive.
Right. Time is money, as always.
100%.
The obvious thing is the website.
Certainly, you can learn all about these great products at either www.macsales.com or definitely check us out at OWC.com. I've got a lot of great content on both sites, and of course, you can learn more about all these great products on those wonderful websites.
Great. Larry, it's great to see you as always. Thanks so much for the time.
Hey, anytime, Chuck. Love seeing you every year. And
thank you.
Throughout the year.
Yeah, well, we usually connect 1 or 2 times at least.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Till next time.
Folks, we'll have more from CES in Las Vegas. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.